Hey there, it's Diane Forster, and welcome to I Have Today, the show that inspires, empowers, and educates you through life's transitions. And we talk about the art of intentional living. And today, I'm very excited about this episode. I have a fantastic guest in the studio with me today. The name of our show is Learn How to Negotiate, and my guest is Lucia Kanter St. Amour. She's an international negotiating expert and attorney, and recently a new author. And this is her amazing book. It's called For the Forces of Good, The Superpower of Everyday Negotiation. And she has got a story behind this. You are absolutely going to love her, the work that she's doing in the world. I'm going to get more into that in a minute when we bring her up on stage with me. But when I met her, I said, oh my gosh, you have to be on my show, because what she's doing is changing the narrative and the feeling and emotion around the word negotiation and the art and act of negotiating. And so negotiating is for everybody. She's going to say that it's not just for the boardroom. And she says on her, let me see on her bio here. She says, she's here to show us how to harness your everyday negotiation powers so you can land your dream job, get your kids to eat their peas, and be the most powerful person in the room. So how would you like to get more of what you want by becoming a better negotiator? Doesn't that sound so good? All right. So before we get into our interview, let's talk about our intention statement. This week's intention statement is, I have today to negotiate better to get what I want. I have today to negotiate better to get what I want. And that's not manipulation. That's just smart, strategic, and self-empowering, those words. What you can do when you learn that negotiation is everywhere and that you are meant to have what it is you want, and that everything is negotiable. Everything is negotiable. And you think about it as I'm reading her book, which I just absolutely love, and I can't wait to dive into it. I'm discovering that the art of negotiation is everywhere. And this has been something that's been predominantly like a man's world. And Lucia is going to talk all about that and how she's empowering women to become better negotiators, to take their power back. And so that's why I wanted to have her on the show. All right. So with our intention statements, what we do is I want you to go to my Instagram page at Diane Forster Official. And there's a little button there that says wallpapers. And there you will find this beautiful graphic right there. And I want you to take it and I want you to use it as your screensaver. Because when you use it as a screensaver and you look at your phone, on average, 150 times a day, you're going to see this message. This is going to be your reminder that you can negotiate better to get everything that you want. And what we do here is we want to be intentional about changing our lives. And what I mean by that is how we make change is through repetition. When you see that over and over again, it's going to start to tell your brain, and the reticular activation system in your mind will see that. And then it'll go out into the world and start proving it to you in so many different cool ways. That's how we manifest better. That's how we shift our mindset. So go right there, take a screenshot of it. And while you're there, if you're not following me, give me a follow. Give me a subscribe, give me a like, check out the content there, because every single week we bring you amazing guests like Lucia to help you in your life so that you can be living more empowered, more inspired, and smarter, more educated. So, all right. So before we bring her on, let's hear a word from our sponsor, The Spifter. This week's episode of I Have Today is brought to you by The Spifter. The Spifter is a fun sifting spoon that makes cooking, baking, and decorating with sugars and spices so much fun. No more mess or wasting your spices. It's fast, clean, and easy. Everything looks and tastes delicious. It's also great for straining loose tea, getting pesky broken cork out of your wine glass, and draining liquid off food like olives and capers. Whether you're a novice cook or a gourmet chef, you'll love the results. The Spifter, the kitchen gadget that no kitchen should be without. And there's plenty of time to still get your Spifter before Christmas. All right, Lucia, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome. I have today. So nice to see you.
I am delighted to be here. And yes, there's still lots more holiday cookie decorating to be done, right?
Yes, there are. Absolutely. All right. Well, let me tell the audience a little bit about you. Lucia Kanter St. Amour is a VP for UN Women USA, practicing attorney and law professor turned everyday negotiation superhero. She's the author of For the Forces of Good, the Superpower of Everyday Negotiation, and she is here to show you how to harness your everyday negotiation powers so you can land that dream job, get your kids to eat their peas, and be the most powerful person in the room. So powerful. Okay. Oh, hey, look, we got some fans in the audience. Hey, guys, thanks for being here. I see Mike. I see Becky. How are you guys? All right. So before we get into the art of negotiation and how you became this expert, I want a little background story on you. You know, how did this become something that was your area of expertise? What led you down this path?
Well, it's actually a pretty typical superhero origin story in that I am no one special. Now, I do not mean that in a self-deprecating way, not at all. What I mean is the classic origin story of the unremarkable transformed to the remarkable, because I never actually set out. I never said, "Ooh, I need to become this world-renowned negotiation expert and one of the very few women who does it. I'm going to really bust through these ceilings." And I didn't say that. It evolved over time. Law school was never the plan either. You know, I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't good enough. I was the kid from a small town in Illinois with the eye patch and who was always bullied, you know. So I was actually taught to be powerless for most of my life. And so that's what's remarkable about it, is that I've arrived where I am today as this expert. And it really makes me passionate about teaching other people who have been left out that, oh, you could do this too. Or this is not otherworldly stuff. I'm evidence of it.
Yeah. That's, oh my gosh, so good already. So, right. Many women were not taught that way, right? And so when I started reading your book, the first story is about your lemonade stand and selling your dollhouse, and how impressed your parents were with your savvy negotiation skills already at that age, by just simply asking, well, what'd you have in mind?
Right. I was 10 years old. I wasn't a negotiator. I was just following my instincts. I said, I didn't do anything special. Negotiation is for businessmen. That's serious businessman stuff. That's not for 10-year-old girls at a garage sale, but
Right.
It is. It turns out it is.
It is. And so so you talked about, feeling invisible, not being noticed. Was there a moment in your life that made you just go, I'm not doing this anymore? Like I'm declaring this right now. I'm not staying in the shadows anymore.
There have been epiphanous moments in my life, for sure. There have also been many moments, like you just said, feeling invisible. It was more than just feeling invisible. It was that they told me I was invisible. And in one of the early chapters, I talk about, I've often been the only woman in the room. And this one meeting with the Longshoremen's Union back early in my career, when I walked in, and one of them joked about, well, who invited the secretary of the Lollipop Guild? And they all had a good laugh about that. And then I was relegated to the corner, where I sat in this huge chair. Now, I am an itty bitty person. I am 5'2" and about 110 pounds soaking wet. So this chair is swallowing me up. My feet didn't even touch the floor. I felt like Alice in Wonderland. I looked ridiculous. But you know what I did? So I wasn't invited to participate. They basically told me, you're invisible, you're inconsequential, as 27 years old.
Right.
So I used the tools that I did have at my disposal, Diane.
Mm.
It was listening and it was observation. And I was noticing these facial expressions, the pauses, the spaces in between what they were saying. And I was seeing things and hearing things that they couldn't see and hear because they were in it. They were too busy talking. They were too busy trying to persuade each other of their positions. And I actually had a major breakthrough that I told the partner later on. I said, well, did you try this? Because I noticed when that guy said, and he went dead silent. And I'm thinking, I'm probably pointing out something obvious. What I just said is probably stupid. Believe me, I've said all the things. No, they had never thought of it. And it turned out to be a breakthrough thing. That was from listening and observing. I leveraged what I had available to me. They silenced me, so I used what I had.
Yes. Wow. That is so good. Listening and observing. Okay. We all could learn to do that better, right? Talk about your teaching. You taught negotiation skills for 10 years, right?
I
Talk a
did
little bit
at
about
two, and
that.
I still am. I did at two University of California law schools, UC Berkeley Law and UC Hastings College of the Law. Oh, so much fun to teach a practical skills course,
Yeah,
right?
right.
To law students. And it all started with chocolates, which is how I start off my book, as you know. And the very first session of class each semester was arm wrestling for chocolates. And all of the basic negotiation themes that we were able to draw out of that first lesson. So already people were going, ooh, chocolate. She talks about chocolates. Yes, chocolates and Girl Scout cookies and all sorts of other things, that all these everyday ways that we're surrounded by it and we're missing them, these opportunities for negotiating. And even the law students were pretty surprised by that. So it was a fun class, and I still keep in touch with those students. A lot of them, they are partners at big law firms now. They're the global directors of departments for name brand companies, and they still call me professor, which is adorable. So those relationships were lasting, very meaningful.
Very meaningful. And those skills lasted for life, right?
Yes.
Those are
Yeah.
skills you can use forever.
Yeah, there's skills you can use forever, and it doesn't mean you win every time, right? It's kind of like, and I'm going to use a sports metaphor here because it's so apt. Let's talk about baseball. So the best hitters in the history of baseball, their batting average does not go north of 350. Okay, so what does that mean for non-baseball people? What that means is for every 10 times at bat, they get a hit at best 3.5 times. Those are the best guys. So what's happening the other 6.5 times? Well, they're striking out or they're getting a base on balls. They're walking. Okay, so the idea is that you practice it a lot every day in familiar contexts, in low stakes situations, and you keep stepping up to the plate.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Well, we live here with the 1% better every day motto, right? You just keep going, keep doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I love that sports metaphor. And what is your connection with sports? You have a record there. You're the only woman that owns a team. Yeah.
No, I don't own any teams. I don't quite run in that crowd. I have a single digit index golfer, if that's
No, there was
any.
something I read about you that in 94 years, you're the only woman who no?
I was the first woman president and CEO
Okay.
of a certain sports organization, that happens to be very, very male dominated.
Yeah.
That's what you're thinking of.
Yes, that is what I'm thinking of. Okay. So, all right. So here you are, practicing attorney. You're in the boardroom with mostly men. And I have to tell you, when I first started my career, I worked at an ad agency and I was a secretary, working on an account. It was an automotive account. And I was always the only woman in the room, too. Very intimidating place to be.
Mm-hmm.
And as my career grew and I grew, I became more assertive, and I would go into these meetings with all of these car dealers for regional meetings and tell them how they need to be spending their money, their advertising dollars. And once I got the LA Regional Buying Group to increase their budget from $1 million to $2 million. And when I went back to the office, the account executive on the team said a very derogatory thing to me and got him in trouble, and he almost lost his job. He said, "What'd you do? Wear a low cut blouse?"
Mm-hmm. Right.
No, I was negotiating with them. I didn't call it negotiating then, but I was negotiating with them on better ways for them to make greater impact, sell more cars. So it is an intimidating place to be. So what can you say? What are some, negotiating skills, like easy negotiating skills, strategies you can share with us right now?
Right. Because that's the point, is that
Right.
we need to bring this down to the everyday level, because it is everywhere, every day for everyone. It is negotiation starts when you wake up in the morning. It starts in the bedroom and then follows you down to the kitchen and then to the grocery store and to your kids' school. It's just everywhere. And if you can learn to spot these everyday moments, then you're going to end up becoming super stealth and more prepared for the higher stakes negotiations that do come along. Okay, so there are some things that you can do to practice every day. So one of the early exercises that I give people is a simple haggle. Now, I know we don't like to haggle in this country. I get that. We are uncomfortable with it. Not so much in other cultures, but we are here. And so one of the first assignments for my law students was they had to actually go out and haggle for something, and then they wrote a paper on it and they came back and we talked about it. If you are uncomfortable haggling, say for a Craigslist item or at a flea market or something like that, that's okay. You could do something that comes a little bit that approximates that. And it's pretty simple. Here's what you do. At a checkout counter, whether it's at a brick and mortar store or it's online, because you can do it in a live chat, you're going to start asking, are there any other offers or discounts that apply to my purchase today?
Oh,
Okay.
that's so good.
Now, remember that batting average. Is that going to work every time? No, but you might be surprised at how often the answer actually is yes. And you can even say, well, if not today, what about next week? Like, do you need that thing right away? Is it going to go on sale next week? Is there plenty? You can ask about how much inventory do you have? Okay. So I was working with someone recently who the haggle, she just couldn't do the haggle. I said, okay, how about the asking at the checkout counter? And she said, I can't do that either. I said, could you do it in a live chat? Could you type it? And she said, I can do that. I said, okay, then that's where you start. You start by typing it in a live chat. No live chat? Go to Google and type in whatever the store is and coupon code for whatever that store is. All right. Look for a coupon. Send them an email and ask. Okay. You're going to save money that way. Call your insurance agent. I just spoke with somebody recently. Now I'm in California, and this was someone, I'm in San Francisco. This was someone in Sacramento. A lot of people have swimming pools there. It gets hot. And they just removed the diving board from their swimming pool and called their insurance agent and said, oh, well, that's a safety feature. They were able to save money on their premium.
Wow.
All right. Are there other safety features you could be installing or removing at your home to save money? Did your 17-year-old just get straight A's on their report card and now qualifies for the good student discount on the insurance? These are just a couple examples of tools. It's gathering information. It's asking questions. It's building rapport. That's a huge one. Rapport. It never goes out of style. And it's one of the first things I've seen go away in this advent of Zoom video conferencing since
Yes.
COVID. People say, oh, let's just get down to business. There's no rapport building. And then they wonder why they're stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because it's about relationships. At the end of the day, with everything, it's about relationships. So when you're saying build rapport, so what are some building rapport techniques?
Yeah. So a lot of people say, well, I don't like to make small talk. Well, then don't make it small.
Right.
Let me back up. The first thing you're going to do is, and so now that I'm saying it out loud, people are going, well, that seems so obvious. Yeah, a lot of this is pretty obvious, right? I'm not splitting the atom here, people.
Right.
What you're going to do is you probably know who you're going to be talking to. And if not, find out. Find out who's going to be on that call. Internet sleuth them.
Yes.
Look them up ahead of time and find out about them, right? Do they like dogs? Do they have young kids? What are some ways that you might be able to ask about their lives or share something about yours that then you might have in common with them? Or ask about a podcast that they're listening to, or share one that you just started listening to that, oh, I want to tell you about this really great podcast I started listening to, or, some travel tips or anything like that. What shows they're binge watching these days? All right. Small talk doesn't have to be small, and you can prepare for it. You can have sort of a quiver of small talk topics that you've prepared in advance and that are actually tailored to that person or those people because you did a little internet sleuthing.
Yes. Yeah. And you know what? There's a deeper question there. Why do you not like small talk? Is it, it's definitely something within the person that, if they say, well, I just don't like small talk. I just want to get in and do my thing and get out of there. Well, what are you afraid of actually developing a rapport, a relationship with this person? And my feeling is, why don't you want to build rapport with someone that you are in negotiations with or trying to do business with, even if it's quote unquote, and I'm doing a lot of quotes today. I don't know what's going on with me, but I'm doing air quotes a lot for those of you listening to the podcast. But, even divorces, there's simple ways to bring humanity and make it more cohesive. I know sometimes it's just impossible, but ways to, make that whole experience smoother, kinder, nicer, more cordial by building rapport with somebody, right.
And show a curiosity in them.
Yeah.
Be the first to do that.
Yeah.
How do you expect them to show any curiosity in you or listen to you if you don't do it for them? Be the first to do it.
Yes. Yes. I know we're kind of going off in a ditch here, and I'll pull it back in a second, but just even yesterday, I had to call a government office because they didn't do something that they said they were going to do. They didn't send me something they were going to send me. And, there's frustration. There's time wasted. There's all of that. And my initial reaction was to be really mad at the person on the other end of the phone. And then I was like, well, it's not their fault. They didn't do it. They're just doing their job. Right. So it's like catching yourself in those moments. And like, I even have those human moments too. Like I have to catch myself in those situations. So,
and remember that the person you're talking to may be the very person who can help you. Exactly. So it's not wise to alienate them.
Exactly. How much more likely are they going to be willing to assist you and help you when you're kind and you're actually developing rapport and a relationship with them?
Yeah, exactly. And you can even sort of appeal to their authority. So I actually, when I see that something is non-returnable, I'm like, yeah, maybe not. maybe not. I have about a 50% batting average with returning non-returnable things. And one of the things that I do is I'll appeal to their authority. I'll say, I know this is non-returnable. I do not expect you to allow me to return this. You would sure be doing me a big favor. I don't suppose you could make an exception just this once because, and I'll provide some reason. And I'm basically saying, You have authority. I have no leverage. I don't expect you to do it. Do you suppose you could use your authority to help me out? And, here's the thing. Generally, people do want to be helpful.
They do.
And, it works. And it's not manipulative. You're treating them like a human being. And I think negotiation sometimes gets that negative connotation because people think of it as, you said this earlier, as manipulative or that it's too often equated with conflict. And yes, conflict resolution is one category of negotiation, but it's only one category. And if you're equating negotiation with conflict, then you are missing out on the creation aspect of negotiation, the deal making, the collaborating, the fun stuff that's really transformative.
It really is. I love this because now you're opening up a whole world to everybody of opportunity to start implementing this and practicing this. I'm sure going to be doing a lot more of this. I'm going to create a lot more awareness about this, and that everything is negotiable. It is negotiable.
Or at least you can try. Remember that batting average, but keep stepping up to the plate. And another thing that you said earlier that I caught, and I'm not picking on you, it is an important point to make.
Bring it.
Earlier, you said how to get everything you ever wanted. And someone actually commented on a LinkedIn post about my book. They said, "Oh, Lucia Kanter St. Amour is going to teach you how to get everything you ever wanted." And I said, nope. No. That is not something I've ever said. It's not something I would say, because negotiation is not an attitude of entitlement.
Yeah.
Negotiation is not a petulant demand. It is a skill that you get better at by practicing every day in little ways, in low stakes situations. And it is an art, right? So the art of listening to people like they've never been listened to before, the art of building rapport, the art of asking the right questions at the right time in the right way. That's what negotiation is.
Yes. That's so good. That's so good. Yeah. Well, how I meant it was, when you're asking, when you want that job or you want that promotion or you want that raise or you want that date or you want, what you want, getting what you want. Yeah, I agree. And I also agree with the batting average of it too, that, if it's meant to be, it's going to be. And if it's not, hey, that's okay too. But I'm going to keep trying, and I'm just going to keep at it. I'm going to keep honing in on these skills. I don't want to say perfecting, because that means like there's an end, but honing in on them and taking the opportunities that are presented to me.
Exactly.
And seeing the opportunities that are presented to me.
Yeah. And you're never arrived. I'm not arrived. I'm still practicing.
Yeah.
I'm still, and I have failed. I failed miserably last year. I was so convinced in this really dreadful sort of bullying situation I was in. I said, okay, I understand human behavior. As a mediator, I'm disrupting this status quo, and this is a productive disruption. I just got to get to the other side of it. And I couldn't. I was not able to get to the other side of it. After months and months of trying, I was simply outnumbered. So do I fall on my face? I sure do. And then I peel myself off the pavement and I regenerate stronger every time after I'm done licking my wounds a little bit, So yeah, you just keep stepping up to the plate.
Yeah.
I'm still learning.
What do you wish more women knew about?
I wish more women understood that they've simply been left out and that they have that power inside of them. And I'm not even talking about empowerment. And it's going to seem like I'm splitting hairs here again, and that's okay. Empowerment is something that you haven't arrived yet, right? You could still be held at bay. Power is you've arrived. Power you already have. And so I wish more women and others who have been left out, asterisk, going to come back to that in just a quick sec,
Yeah.
They understood that that power is inside them, just like it was inside me as that small town kid with the eye patch who was constantly bullied. You have it, and you're probably already doing it. And you just need to tap into it a little more and internalize that voice that you are an everyday competent and confident negotiator. It's just like getting the six-pack abs. All right. You gotta perform the plank twists, do a dozen of them every day. That's how you do it. But you don't get it by sitting on the sofa and watching the workout video.
Right.
Asterisk is that I've actually gotten a number of lovely messages from men of color, someone in Nigeria, another businessman in Singapore, and another in India, who have said, Lucia, thank you so much for your book, because I have spent my career in workshops where white men have been telling me how to get things done. And I went, oh, wow, I hadn't thought about that, actually. So we just need more inclusion and diversity on this topic. So that's what I wish they would know, is that I'm no one special, and I've done it, and so can you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right, let's talk about your book. All right, so here's your book, and show everybody.
I show in the back to trim the dog. Because I told the design team, I said, a chocolate Labrador being incorporated on this book cover is non-negotiable. And then they're trying to put it on the front. They said, Lucia, it's kind of crowded, with the endorsement on the front cover and then the cape. And I said, okay, here's what you do. She didn't have arms. I said, give the figure arms.
Okay.
Put a to-go cup of coffee in one hand. Put a dog leash in the other hand. Have the leash wrap around the spine. Let's use the spine of the book, and put the chocolate lab on the back. So when I say non-negotiable, I mean it, darn it.
Yes. I love it. I love it so much. So, okay. So, what compelled you to write this book?
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, here's what happened, because this was never the plan. I've had people say, oh, Lucia, you should write a book. You're such a good writer. You should write a book. And I'm like, no, thanks. There's so many books out there. Do I really need to add to the noise? Oh, too much trouble. I don't want to have to sustain a point that long. Besides, who reads anymore anyway? I mean, I do, but I was an English lit major, but people don't even read anymore, do they? And then here's what happened. I decided to start my podcast earlier this year, and I was flipping through my old teaching binder. It's all paper. None of it is scanned. And I'm flipping through it going, oh, how do I want to build this podcast? I really want it to speak to the everyday person, the non-MBA, the non-attorney, the people who don't think of themselves as negotiators. That's the point of this podcast, right? For the non-expert. How do I want to design it? Going through my teaching materials. And just in 2022, I noticed something for the first time. Now, I taught from 2003 to 2013, so this was very late. I noticed that every assigned reading for those 10 years at two prominent University of California law schools, every assigned reading had been authored by not just a man, a white man.
Wow.
And I went, no, that's not possible. How is that? That must be wrong. I wasn't wrong. And then I got in my time machine and I turned the dial to 2003. And I said, well, okay, which non-white cisgender men could I have been assigning? There was like a whole lot of nothing. There was one in 2003 that came out, and then not much until around 2015. Then we had about roughly one per year since then. And that's about it. And once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. That and the fact that the authors of these books on negotiation tended to be kind of elite. They were the attorney, which, guilty as charged. Okay. The MBA, the, retired FBI hostage negotiator, the sales and marketing professional, writing for that same audience. And I went, oh, heck no. This is no wonder people don't think, the school teacher, the professional dog walker, the nurse, the stay-at-home parent. No wonder people don't think they know how to negotiate.
Right.
They haven't been taught. The messaging is, oh, you can't do this. You better leave it to
They
the
don't
expert.
know they can.
And you better pay someone to do that. And I'm saying, no, don't pay me. Save your hard-earned money for a family vacation or for your kids' college fund. You could do it yourself. I'm going to teach you. So once I saw that, it was like a moral imperative. I said, well, oh no, now I have to write a book. I was like, oh, so I did.
Yeah. Well, you're on the other side of it, which is amazing. Yes. And we've got Mike saying, I'm reading it now. So good. Yes, Mike, I'm reading it too. And I'm really enjoying it. It's really, really powerful book that I think it's for everybody. It's absolutely for everybody. So, and I think this is a skill, let young kids, and the youth read this too. So it's witty, it's fun, it's all you, Lucia, which is so amazing.
It's fun. You've got to make it fun.
I want to quote you here and talk about this because you said entering into a negotiation without preparation or a plan is like walking into a casino with an open wallet.
Right. Right.
Elaborate.
So that's an early chapter. It's planning. It's planning. Planning is actually the number 2 most important negotiation skill. A lot of negotiators would state it.
So rapport is 1, planning is 2.
Rapport isn't number 1 either. But planning is number 2. And so my law students, I made them turn in a planning memo before every simulated negotiation exercise. And Diane, they hated it. They were like, oh, this is such tedious, busy work. And I could tell when they would turn it in and they had just sort of treated it as like a check the box assignment. They had done it pretty rotely. I did not care. The point was I was getting them to develop a habit. Okay. Doesn't mean you have to spend hours. Doesn't mean it. Sometimes you need to spend hours. And in the final chapter of the book, I talk about a negotiation of my own that I spent months preparing for. It was that important, but it doesn't have to be tedious or laborious, but you do plan. You do. Even I talked about it earlier. I said, go internet sleuth the people who you're going to be on the call with. That's planning. Yes. It can be as simple as that. It could take 10 minutes, but plan.
Yeah. Yes, planning is so important. What's the first step?
Oh, you mean the what I consider to be the number 1 most important negotiation skill?
Yes.
Oh, it's listening. Hands down, it's listening. It's remembering that you have 2 ears and 1 mouth and should be using them in that proportion. It is the quiet superpower of negotiation in it. And I've already told you one story about that, how it made me see things that others couldn't see when I was just a young pup of an attorney. And look, I have actually been in many situations in my life as an attorney where I was listening to the other attorney's client on the other side of the table better than their own attorney was. Do you know what that made me, Diane?
The most powerful person in the room.
Darn tootin'. It made
Hands
me the
down.
most powerful person in the room. And I'm talking about listening to people like they have never been listened to before.
Yes.
And I teach you how to do it. You might be thinking, oh, I'm already a great listener. We'll see.
Yeah, listening skills is so important.
Yeah, talk less. Talking is overrated.
It really is. And it's so funny because, well, it's so interesting, but you also become the most interesting person, not only the most powerful person in the room, but the most interesting person in the room is the person who's most interested, is the person who's most quiet. That's because really people do want to talk about themselves. And so they're like, God, she's so interesting. We had this great conversation. Meanwhile, most of the time they're doing the talking themselves.
That's right. And that's the irony. If you're someone who gets people talking about themselves, if you show an interest in them, they're going to end up thinking you are interesting.
Yeah, that is the way it works.
Play out many times.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish more people got that, and I think they will from your book and from this show today, creating more and more awareness about that. So All right. So we're going to have a link for your book, but wait, I have a few more questions for you. And one of the questions is that I ask all my guests, and I want to know how you live the I have today way, which means,
Oh,
intentionally with passion and purpose. And if you wouldn't mind, can you start it with I have today too?
I don't mind at all. I have today to teach more women and people who have been left out how to harness the power of everyday negotiation so they can show up confidently in every aspect of their lives.
Beautiful. That is such a beautiful intention
And I
statement.
believe it. I believe it with my whole heart and I live it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so powerful. Well, I love being on this mission with you. All right. Is there a final piece of advice that you want to share with the audience, or any, what else do you want us to know?
Get out there and practice. Negotiation is an everyday habit. Start doing it in small stakes context and in familiar settings where you're safe.
Yeah.
Again, it's no different than getting those six-pack abs. You just got to do the sit-ups. And if you do it in the little ways, then you're going to be super stealth down the road when the stakes are a lot bigger. I promise.
Oh, that's so true. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it wherever I go now. Wherever I go, I'm going to ask, are there any additional coupons or discounts for my purchase today?
If
And
the answer is no, you're in no worse position.
no,
You don't lose any face. Who cares?
yes. And I
Mhm.
love when your question of what you have in mind when someone's negotiating with you about something, because perception is your reality, and what you think is valuable or has value versus what I think is valuable or has value is two totally different things. What you would classify as expensive or cheap is or valuable is not the same for me. And so in my field with coaching and programs and things that I do, I've learned, and I sold advertising for many, many, many years. I've sold over $100 million in advertising. I did a lot of negotiation in my life. I was on the buying side, the media buying side,
Mhm.
and then I switched over to the television sales side. I got both sides of the desk
Yep.
experience.
Mhm.
But so when I'm coaching my clients who are now offering their services to their, potential customers, and they say to me, oh, I can't charge that. And it's coming from her who doesn't feel valuable or worthy enough. And she's more worried about whether or not they can afford it. I said, that's not your place. You have to be able to confidently ask for what you're worth, confidently
Mhm.
put your pricing out there to work with you for your services.
Mhm.
When we go to an attorney, I mean, most people, I would bet when they come to you, although you're a master at this, so maybe not you, but in most cases, they come to an attorney and they just assume, all right, well, it's going to be this is the retainer and this is what it's going to be, without thinking, well, maybe that is negotiable. Maybe
Right.
it
Right.
is.
Is there another option? And you should be asking that too. Not only should you be able to justify what you're offering objectively, so do your
Yes.
homework, right?
Yes.
Do your market research. So when asked, break that down for me. How did you come up with that rate? How did you come up with that metric? You can do it.
Right.
Flip that. You should be asking when someone makes you an offer, how did you come up with that? How did you calculate that? Break that
Right.
down for me.
Right.
Ask them to rationalize it for you.
Yes.
Right? These are some basic things. And a lot of it comes down to asking the right questions at the right time in the right way. And you mentioned one other little thing. I'm going to be real quick about this, about do I have something of value? You may have something of value that is actually pretty easy for you to give, but is of huge value to them. And I call that sort of coinage. And this is part of your concession planning, where you figure out, here's my high ask, and then what concessions am I prepared to make along the way? You make a concession plan. Some of them might even be false concessions, decoy concessions, something that's actually pretty easy for you and you're not really giving up much, but it's meaningful to them. So I know, and sometimes people ask me to look at an employment severance agreement, right? That is super easy for me. I've written those. I can't even count how many of those. So easy for me to do for someone, but incredibly valuable for them, right?
Yes.
So look for things like that.
Right. Because the value is your experience, not your time. I mean, it's gauged many times by that, but it's your brain, it's your experience. So, right. And the value of you to do that and to do it right and to give me peace of mind knowing that it's been done right, it makes it worth it. So,
right.
All right. So we have, let us know, tell the audience where they can find out more information about you, Lucia.
Well, you can find my book on Amazon. So you can go there, and it's full of artwork because, just we got to have some fun with this. Negotiation is a skill and an art. And otherwise, oh my goodness, I'm so on the internet, it's exhausting. You just Google my name, find more of me than you need.
Yes, and we're looking at your links right now. All right, well, we have a link for your book in the comments section right here. So everything will be in the description show notes, wherever you're finding this episode of I Have Today. And Lucia, it's really a privilege and an honor to know you. And as soon as we met and we were connected by Mike, who's here watching the show, it was like, oh my God, I love this woman so much. And, the Italian, and then I lived in Chicago for 24 years and we're both on a mission to help women. And so I feel like you're a soul sister already. And I'm so grateful to have you here on the show and inspiring, empowering, and educating our audience. And I hope to play again with you super soon. So,
oh, Diane, that means an awful lot to me. And thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. It's been my pleasure. All right. We'll see you soon. Take care. Oh, she's so amazing. She's so amazing. I told you guys, we keep bringing you the best of the best. And now I want you all getting that book immediately. Go in our show notes and get it and learn how to really become powerful by being, by utilizing your negotiation skills in the way. And that all you can do is ask, right? And if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So, okay, so let me tell you what's going on here. Very exciting news. On January 20th, as a matter of fact, we are hosting a live virtual one-day event. It's called the TV Star Intensive. So if you want to host a TV show or your own show like I do, I want to invite you to come, because what we're going to do in this one-day event is I'm going to walk you through the blueprint on how to create a brilliant show that's so cool, so unique to you. So I want you to pay attention to this video to learn more about it right now. Hi, ladies. I'm Diane Forster, and I'm so excited to bring you this opportunity called TV Star Intensive, where I am going to, for one day, take you through what you need to do to launch and star in your own TV show. Now, as someone who's been in the media industry for almost 40 years, and I've had my own show for close to 5 years now, I know what it's done for me, for my business, for my brand, for my bank account. And I know that there are so many of you out there who have so many gifts and talents and expertise that you want to offer the world. And here's the thing, it's a very competitive landscape, and your field, I'm sure, is very crowded. So how do you stand out among the rest? You host your own TV show. You create this platform that allows you to interview and bring other guests onto your show, which also in return gets you invited to other people's shows, TV shows, radio shows, stages. It allows you to elevate your credibility and your authority so you become known as the go-to expert in your industry. It's a lot easier than you think, but it takes smart, strategic planning to do it. So what I'm going to teach you in this one day is everything you need to know. At the end of the event, you're going to be able to launch your show, but your show is going to be brilliant. It's going to be authentic to who you are. It's going to be a lot of fun creating it, and it's going to align with your business and your brand and who you are and the difference that you want to make in this world. So please don't hesitate. If you have this dream, this goal and desire to be a TV personality, this is your chance to learn what you need to do, how to do it, how quickly you can get started, and how little time it takes. You're going to be blown away. So I'm so excited to have this. I'm going to have great guest speakers, experts in the industry, and you're going to have everything you need to know in this plan to learn how you can start doing it now. So I hope to see you there. Take care. Bye-bye. I do hope to see you there. All right, we're going to do our mantra meditation. So please stick around for our last few minutes here on air. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to, if you're driving, obviously you can't do this, but for everybody else, just stop what you're doing, put the phone down, the distractions, and let's just ground in what we learned today from Lucia. This was a really powerful conversation. We're going to do an abbreviated breath work today because the show was so great that we only have a couple minutes left. So what I want you to do is put your feet flat on the ground, put your hands in your lap, just place them on top. Close your eyes and listen to my instruction. I'm going to have you breathe in for the count of 4. Hold that breath, pull it all the way down to your tailbone. And then you're going to hold it for the count of 8. And then you're going to let it out for the count of 8. And I want you to breathe it out like you're blowing out birthday candles. It's going to feel super good. We're going to do that one time. Okay. So eyes closed. Here we go. Breathe in for 4. Hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Blow it out for 8. Just listen to the words. I have today to love my life. Something really good is going to happen to me today. I can feel it. It already has. Miracles big and small. I notice them all. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. I have today to negotiate better to get what I want. Not in a manipulative way, but in a powerful way, to know my worthiness, to know that there are many, many, many things that are negotiable. There are many things that are not as they seem, and that I can ask for what I want. I may not always get it, but I can certainly ask for it. I can do it with kindness, compassion, and I can build rapport with people and really get to know people, make deeper connections by being a really good listener. Because the really good listener is the most powerful person in the room. I can be smart and strategic and plan ahead for the big negotiations in my life, because we all have them. I can do my research. Everything is out there. So I can be as prepared as I could possibly be. And then I can just use my day-to-day life and the little moments here and there to negotiate as well. Because like everything else, it's a skill. And the more I do it, the better I get. And by being 1% better every day, that can amass to a lot. And by doing this, I can be prepared for the really big negotiations in my life. Now that's power. So I have today to love my life, to live in my power, to be a really good listener, negotiate better and better every day, and move in inspired action to get more and more of what I want. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much to my guest, Lucia Kanter St. Amour. It was great having you. Thank you to the audience here. Please follow me, Diane Forster Official, on social media. Subscribe to my show, I Have Today with Diane Forster, and go to my website, dianeforster.com, and subscribe to our newsletter so we can keep you apprised of everything that's going on here. Take care. Have a beautiful today. I love you madly. Bye-bye.